Hey everyone, welcome back to KDX Bricks Analytics, where we talk everything LEGO investing and reselling. I am Kevin, and we are going to do another tier list on this 6-month cumulative table, just like my last few videos. These have been a lot of fun to produce. I hope you all have been enjoying them. Here are the same categories for the tier list, and here's the same random number generator that I've been using, and the first set is in the 122 slot. I've got all the sets on our cumulative table numbered, so we got to scroll down to 122. It's already highlighted, which means we've talked about it in a previous video, so my plan is just to move up on the table to the next available set, and that is this Batmobile Pursuit, Batman versus the Joker. 2 mentions, E-score of 1.5, obviously a pretty low set when it comes to buzz, enthusiasm, and popularity for investing, so I'm sure I'm going to rank this one low on the tier list, but let's look it up on Brickset first. Oh yeah, that's right. This is that little 4+ Batman versus Joker set. Obviously not a good investment. $27 is very expensive, but if I were a kid, I would love this set. With my little kid hands grip that Batmobile, I would think the little on the back are awesome. The 2 minifigures are awesome. So super fun set for kids, but check this out. Less than 500 own and want it. So the demand is super low. Obviously a really easy one to put on the tier list. It's going on the bottom. The random number generator tells us the second set is 137, and that is Captain America's shield. 1 mention, E-score of 2. I agree, I'm not investing in it, and I've got a little cautionary tale to keep an eye out for. This Captain America's shield is $200. Yeah, it's awesome. The shield is awesome, but the build is not great. It is so gappy, and if we looked at the spin on lego.com, the superstructure that's mostly Technic to hold it all together is really thick, and so it doesn't hang on the wall very easily. If it's on the stand and you kind of walk by it, you're going to see all that ugliness in the back. And my cautionary tale is, for me, I'm not thinking that the shield is going to do the same as Thor's hammer. I was high on this set. It's already up to $125. This one was on sale for $60 or $70 at Target because it is a Target, or it was a Target exclusive. And this Thor's hammer looks super clean, super finished. You can pick it up. Obviously, you're not going to whack anything or anybody with it. It'll fall apart, but you can, simulate walking around with Thor's hammer. So to me, this was a no-brainer and a great set. 4.4 on Brickset, and then we come over to Captain America's shield, and it doesn't even have a rating. It's so unpopular. This one will be going in the 4th loser tier, and if we get any more sets in the 4th loser tier, I'm sure that the shield is going to trickle to the bottom of that category. 3rd set is in the 38 slot, so scrolling up, it is Emperor's Throne Room Diorama. This is a polarizing set. 10 mentions, E-score of 1.8. You guys know I've always liked the Star Wars dioramas. I think the builds are fantastic. The minifigures are great. I love that they're small and you can line them all right up on a shelf. But as always, they are crazy expensive. $100 for this is insane. 807 pieces. This is like a $70 set in my opinion. But 7,700 people own it. Another almost 3,000 want it. So there's some demand there. For me, I'm not buying it unless I find it for at least 40% off. If we look at the previous diorama sets, we can see that so far they really haven't moved, at least the ones that it retired at the end of last year. Trash compactor, pretty ugly, but awesome. It was a Walmart exclusive, still $90. Dagobah's Jedi training diorama is down to 77. And then the Death Star trench run without minifigures at $70 is down to 53. That makes sense. Now I do have, let's see, it looks like 5 of these, 13 of the Dagobahs and 7 of the trash compactors, but I averaged 40% off on each of those. So I'm still good in that sense, but there's been a little bit of zombie stock with some of these dioramas. Secondary price isn't really moving yet, and they're going to end up being a longer hold time. Obviously, based on the data, I have to cool my stance on these Star Wars dioramas, but I hope they continue to make more. And again, maybe after the longer hold time, they'll do okay, but I don't want to hold on to them that long. So we'll see with my 40% off if I can get them sold out of here in the next 12 months. So with all that said, I am going to put it in the mid just because all the dioramas that retired at the end of last year did go on a great discount, and I'm expecting the 2 that retire this year to also go on a great discount. Next up is the set in the 86 slot. We've already talked about that one, so we'll go to Destiny's Bounty Race Against Time. 4 mentions, E-score of 1.8 for this Ninjago set. I rarely invest in Ninjago, so I'm skipping this one. $160 seems like a lot. I know that this is accurate to the storyline, but I just don't like the look of this ship. The original Destiny's Bounty was pretty awesome. Wow, under 1,000 own it and want it, so super low demand there. Only a 3.7. Yeah, Yeah, so now that I see those metrics, definitely avoiding this set. I hate to do it, but I'm going to put it in the bottom tier, obviously above the little 4 Plus Batmobile, but yeah, in the bottom tier. Fifth set to analyze is in the 29 spot. I feel like we've done that one already. Yep, that was a couple videos ago. So we're going to go to the Prisoner of Azkaban figures. That's a brickhead set. 12 mentions, very good. E-score of 2.6. Also really, really good. Max E-score is 3.0. A very short 10-month shelf life if it does retire at the end of this year. So kind of like last year's Battle of Endor Heroes and this year's Phantom Menace brickhead sets. $50 standard price, $10 per figure. Some people are really excited about this one because of past performance. Harry Potter brickheads multi-packs, like Professors of Hogwarts. Yes, it says 43 on brick set, but people got this one 40% off. And then you've got Harry, Hermione, Ron, and Hagrid. It was a $25 set up to $32. People also got this one on sale. But then Voldemort, Nagini, and Bellatrix that retired in 2022 has barely moved for it being a year and a half into retirement. So I just don't know. This one is kind of cool looking, so I would have thought it would have done a little better. This one's boring. I'm surprised it's doing as well as it is. This one's great. I would have thought it would have done a little better. And I just don't like the figures of the new one that's retiring at the end of this year, especially the Patronus and the Dementor. Harry, Hermione, we've had them a bunch of times. They're kind of boring. Sirius Black is awesome. That looks exactly like him, even in brickheads form. A lot of people are kind of high on this set, and I'm hesitant. Of course, if it goes 40% off at lego.com, like a lot of brickheads multi-packs do right before they retire, then I would pick some up. But outside of that, I'm not too high, so I'm going to go above Captain America's shield. No, you know what? I'm going to go mid, maybe even above the no, I'm going to go mid. Yeah. Oh, man, it's a tough one. All right, I'm going to go mid above the diorama, but I'm still not excited about it. Next number generated is 113, which is a Speed Champions 2-pack. 2 mentions, E-score of 2. I know most Speed Champions historically are solid, consistent investments. This McLaren 2-pack is okay. I do like the orange color, and I do like the black on white with the orange accent. Low price at $35, less than $20 per vehicle, when the latest Speed Champions set single packs are coming out at $27. So pretty good buy-in price. 4.3 is solid. Standard Speed Champions demand with over 6,000 members owning it. So, you know, things look pretty decent. Less than a 2-year shelf life. I can't hate on it too much. I'll put it in the top of the mid tier. Rolling the number generator, we get 128, and we'll go to the Sword Outpost. Ooh, now this Minecraft set I like. 1 mention, an E-score of 2. Surprising it's only 1 mention. This is a really cool build. $45 doesn't seem terrible either with all of the minifigures and animals, but that sword is so iconic to Minecraft, and I know very little about Minecraft, but having a build like that, I think that can be iconic for years to come. And with it sounding like the Minecraft movie is coming out in 2025, I could see this one get a pretty good pop. So this might be one of the few Minecraft sets right now that could do well in the secondary market. I know Minecraft has done well for years, but the secondary market has definitely cooled off, so not many people are investing in Minecraft right now, but this is one that I'm keeping an eye on. So I'm actually going to push and put that in the first loser category. Now, if we get more sets in the second tier, then this one's going to move down and be towards the bottom of second tier, but I have a hunch that this one will be one to watch. Again, as always, I want it on a really good discount. 109 is the next number generated, and on our table, we're going to go to the 108, which is Singapore, because we've already talked about the skidder in the last video. 2 mentions, E-score of 2. If it does retire, it'll have a 3-year shelf life. Pretty cool design and build. I think this one pops compared to a lot of the Skyline sets. All the Skyline sets are super awesome. I actually own maybe one somewhere in a box, but I own none of the Skylines. I would like to get into those someday, but if I want to go back and get them all, that's going to cost a lot of money, because historically the Skyline sets have done really well. Lego's not producing nearly as many of them. They're having long shelf lives, so the buzz around the architecture sets in general has worn off, but I still think there's something there with these Skyline sets. Let's look at some of these recent ones, like Tokyo. They retired in 2022, 60 to 65. At least it's moving north. Dubai, 60 to 80, retired in 2021. San Francisco is getting a good pop now. That one took a little while. Paris is still out because of the Olympics, in my opinion, but I think that one will do pretty well. And then somewhere down here is New York, that has been out for a long time. And there it is from 2016, and it's still out. Clearly, this shows the demand for these sets is really, really high. And why is the demand high? Because these cities aren't going anywhere. People are visiting them year after year. You know, millions of people are visiting them year after year. And so every time people fall in love with a city, visit a new city, move to it, then there's going to be more demand for people to go pick up these Lego sets. You know, because compared to a lot of the licensed Lego sets out there, you know, like Marvel, DC, Star Wars, whatever, once the series, the movie is over, or people lose interest in all that media, then the demand for those sets can die out. Whereas the frequency in which these cities are on the internet and in the news and everything else is just continuing, if not increasing in a lot of ways. So I generally like these Skyline sets, even if they have a long shelf life. And I think this Singapore set will do pretty well. But I do think we need to get used to a little longer hold time with these Skyline sets because they are on the shelves longer. I'm going to put this one above the Minecraft sword set in the first loser category. Let's see what number we generate next. Oh, we're going down the list to 127. And that's the sword outpost we just talked about. So we'll go to the one above, the Swamp Adventure. Also one mention, E-score of 2 for this Minecraft set. Now opposite of the sword outpost, this one doesn't interest me at all just because it is so small. It's a $10 set. If you're an Amazon seller and you can do bulk and volume, some $10 sets will double up or triple up to $20 or $30 pretty quickly. I'm not into that yet. And so this is nothing special. Just a couple of the standard minifigures, Zombie and Alex. These have been produced over and over and over. So nothing special in this set. I'm going to put it at the bottom above the other two. Actually, no, I'm going to put it behind Destiny's Bounty. Next random number is 175. And we've talked about that in the last video. So we're going to the Friends Sports Center, set 41744. 3 mentions, but notice the E-score is 0. That means it's 3 mentions against and 0 mentions in favor of investing in this set. Some Friends sets have done really well, but I don't think this is one that's going to do well. It looks a little plain and a little skeletal even. And instead of having a nice larger building, it's got a bunch of little side components. Just doesn't work for me. Easy pass, especially at the $95 price point. I want to make sure I keep the 4 Plus Batmobile right there at the bottom where it belongs, so I'll put this one just above it. This row here at the bottom is looking pretty bad right now. We're 10 sets in on this video. The 11th set is going to be from the 12 slot. We're going way to the top here, and that is Frodo and Gollum brickheads. I'll try to prevent my enthusiastic voice from tipping my hand on where I'll be putting this on the tier list, but I'm sure you could already tell I like it a lot. And if you've watched my previous videos, you know I like the Lord of the Rings brickheads. This one has 17 mentions, a lower enthusiasm score of 2.3, but that's because Gollum is kind of boring looking, as would be expected for Gollum, but still, it's a nice little set. Licensed brickheads historically have done well. Popularity around brickheads is still on the incline. A lot of people are heavily collecting these. 2-year shelf life is fine. $15 makes sense because Gollum is tiny. But between the 4 Lord of the Rings sets they're retiring this year, the 3 Sonic sets, and the Minecraft sets that retired last year, we've got a lot of good short-run licensed brickhead sets that I think are going to do pretty well. So this will be the first set I put in top tier in this video. Now on to the 35th set on our table, and that one we've talked about in the past, so we're going to go to the Ideas Tales of the Space Age. 11 mentions, E-score of 1.9. I think that is a touch low. I'm more at the 2.1 range, and I'm a little above average compared to what most people are saying about this set. The thoughts out there are that it's just too plain and too simple, but for me, I like the simplicity of it. It's beautiful, it's whimsical. You can break these up into 4 elements that you can hang on the wall. You can hang them in 2 groups of 2 or 1 picture of 4. I love that. $50 for 688 pieces isn't bad. It's a 4.4 on brick set, and a decent number of people own it and want it. I've got 3 already. I picked up 1 at Walmart at $25, 50% off, and I picked up 2 more at Walmart for 30% off. I wouldn't be paying full price, but outside of that, I think there is something here, just a little something. Probably after a little longer hold time, but I see this one creeping up in value. I'm going to put it below the Speed Champions in the mid tier. All right, let's see what our random number generator gives us next. Number 64, and that is the New York postcard. I talked about the Australia postcard a couple of videos ago. This one has 5 mentions, E-score of 1.8. I agree with that. It is a LEGO exclusive. I'm not high on the postcards, but of all the postcards that have not retired yet, this would be my favorite because New York City is such a popular city. We were just talking about that related to the architecture skyline sets, and this build is pretty decent. But if we look at the other postcards, they're only okay. Japan is really bright and pretty looking, but a little cartoonish for me, I think. The Australia postcard isn't as pleasing because of the arid tree right there. Paris is very popular. It's already retired. It's basically doubled or close to doubled in value, and the main reason is because the first one in this series retired and because the Olympics are going to be there in a couple of weeks. The London postcard is a little chunky, so also not my favorite. We got the Beijing postcard, the one without their flag on it, and that one just looks a little plain, so not my favorite, but maybe the New York postcard would have some potential opportunity. I'm not going to rank it too high though. I'm going to put it on top of the 4th loser tier, and maybe I'm being being too harsh, but I feel like that's where it goes when I compare it to all the sets that I put in the mid tier. The next number called is 17, so back to the top of the table. Sonic the Hedgehog Lego store exclusive brickhead, 16 mentions, an awesome enthusiasm score of 2.4. Really fantastic looking brickheads build. Lego is just knocking these brickheads designs out of the park. Less than a year and a half shelf life, but I do like the Knuckles and Shadow 2-pack better, and I like the Tails single pack better. A lot of times the primary character actually doesn't perform as well as like the second level characters that are all still super popular, but not as commonly known or likely to be hoarded as the main character. Great set, one I'm excited about, but I'm gonna put it definitely below Frodo and Gollum, and I think actually top of the first loser category. Let's generate our next number, and that is 57, and we'll go to Indoor Speeder Chase Diorama. We're getting both of the Star Wars dioramas that are retiring at the end of this year in this same video. 7 mentions, a painfully low 1.7 enthusiasm score. Here it is. It's a great build. Love all the foliage. I have the exact same comments on this one as I did the Throne Room diorama. This one only has a 3.9, $80 for 608 pieces, but at least less than a 2-year shelf life. I'm going to assume this one also will go on a huge discount like I was describing earlier, so I'm going to put it right next to the Emperor's Throne Room, but just below it. Next setup is the 12th set, and we just talked about it, so we'll go to the one above. Another Brickheads, the Obi-Wan Kenobi and Darth Vader 2-pack, 17 mentions, E-score of 2.4. Both great characters, well designed, well built, but for some reason, just not my favorite. I think just because it's been out a while and it feels like we've hit fatigue on this set. Over a 2.5-year shelf life. But listening to other people in all the videos I watch, you know, there's got to be something there. So I'm not going to give it a super low tier ranking. Actually, I'm going to give it a pretty good tier ranking because Brickheads, for the most part, do well. I'll put it right behind Sonic. Kind of funny how Brickheads populate the top of these tier lists lately, but they have been some of the fastest sets to double in money after they hit retirement. Now onto the 71st place set, and that is the UCS Luke Skywalker's Land Speeder. 5 mentions, E-score of 1.2. This set makes people shudder. I don't hate it that bad. I actually like the color a little bit. Makes it look dusty, like it's cruising around on Tatooine. And the shaping, proportions, it's honestly not bad, but $240 is insane. I mean, this is a $150 retail set in my opinion, and then you get it on sale for $120, or maybe it's like a $170 set, and then you get it on sale for $125. But I've pointed this out before. If you look at past UCS sets, the first of a Star Wars ship has done pretty well. The original TIE Interceptor, 100 to almost 1,000. The original X-Wing, 150 to 1,200. And I know those are older sets, but if we scroll down here, we can see that we've never had a UCS land speeder. And so maybe this one has a slight chance, but huge discount. Otherwise, I'm passing. I've seen it 30 or even 35% off, and I've skipped it without a question. It would need to be 50% or even slightly more for me to want to pick it up. About $110, and I would pick it up. And I know that's asking a lot and unlikely. Outside of that, I'm skipping it. So I'm going to put it in the 4th loser category ahead of Captain America's Shield. Here's what our tier list looks like so far. 17 sets in. We have 8 to go. The random number generator tells us it'll be the set in spot 66, which is the very expensive R2-D2. 5 mentions, E-score of 1.6. This is a pass because it's super thick, it's ugly, and it's $240, and LEGO just released a much sleeker looking $100 R2-D2. I get it's a little smaller, but it looks so much better, and it comes with a cool 25th anniversary Darth Malak minifigure. So sorry R2, but your old version is getting passed up for investing. We're going to put it at the bottom here, right there, still behind Destiny's Bounty. Next number to pull up is 148 towards the bottom of the table. That is the Lego Nutcracker. Only 1 mention, E-score of 1. Obviously not a popular set for investing. What's weird is because of the belt buckle and where the arms are, it looks like that this Nutcracker just got handcuffed, out in front of its arms. I know some Christmas sets do really well. I don't think this is one, but because it's Christmas theme, I won't go totally to the bottom, and I'll in fact put it in front of the UCS Land Speeder. That'll make a lot of people feel good about my tier list. Let's go to number 161 on the table, the Battle of Hogwarts. And most of the time when I see a set, I can picture it immediately. I have no recollection of what that set is, but 1 mention, E-score of 1. Yeah, that's why I don't remember it. It is another tan building with sand green roof and spire. And this one is like a small building with some catwalks and a bunch of minifigures. These blasts and splats are kind of cool with Harry and Voldemort, but yeah, yeah, 80 bucks, 3.8 on brick set. Seems like a pretty easy pass for investing, even though it only has a 1.5 shelf life. This one will go just ahead of Captain America's shield. Let's see what number we get next. Back to the top of the table, number 18, which we've talked about in the past. So we got to go to number 14, the Lamborghini Countach. Now this is a set I like, 16 mentions, E-score of 2.7. I'm thinking this one's going to outperform most of the speed champions that are retiring at the end of this year. The design is great, a rare white speed champions car that I like a lot. 4.4 on brick set is awesome. Still the original $20 price point, so hopefully we can find them right at the end of the year for $12 or $13. Longer, almost 3-year shelf life, but a lot of people recognize this car from the Wolf of Wall Street movie, and Lego just came out with the same vehicle but in the larger Icons brick built style at $180. This I'm sure will be on the shelves for a little while, so this will remind everybody you can go get a smaller version for much cheaper. Instead of paying $180 here, then maybe you pay $40 for this one. I think there's a lot to like, so I'm gonna go top tier on this one behind the Lord of the Rings brickheads. Now we're gonna go to the 102nd set on the table, and that is Peter Pan and Wendy's Flight Over London. 3 mentions, but a low 1.3 enthusiasm score, a Walmart exclusive. First off, this is a discount set. $60 for 466 pieces is too much, but after that, I like it a fair amount actually. Definitely flying under the radar. If people are investing in it, there will not be a lot of supply on the secondary market. Obviously, with only 1,800 members owning it and 1,000 wanting it, then there's going to be low demand too. So the question is, will the supply be low enough that the low demand will still drive some price up, or will it be the opposite? We don't know for sure, but I'm thinking, again, after a much needed discount, this one could do okay. And the reason I think so is because Lego has come out with a series of these small mini scale Disney castles or kind of dioramas. So we've got Ariel's Castle, Sleeping Beauty, and then we got to scroll down a little further here. I didn't sort these too well. And then we've got the Disney Palace of Agrabah. That one is awesome, but there's no minifigure in it. And then we keep going. Dang, I could have done this a little better, but I'm not looking up all these tabs ahead of time because I don't know what sets we're talking about in each video. You know, it depends on the random number generator. So all the cuts that I do to make this video are me, you know, finding the brick set pages to look at. But this Haunted Mansion, I think is pretty cool. 40 bucks down to 30. I invested in maybe 5 of these. So far not so good. The thought was these would do okay, but they haven't. But now, as you can see, there's 5 or 6 in this mini Disney castle lineup that, you know, look all pretty good together. So maybe longer hold time, but I think there's some opportunity for these. But I'm not going to go crazy. I will put it at the bottom of the mid tier. Next number up is 101, and that is Moana and Merida Brickheads. 3 mentions, E-score of 1.7. I've never seen the movie, so I just don't know. But they are Disney characters in Brickheads form. They both look pretty good. Obviously, the hair on both of them is awesome. Less than a 2-year shelf life. Outside of that, it's a total guess, but a lot of Disney Brickheads have done well in the past. I don't hear much about this set, so I'm going to put it in the top of our mid tier. And we have 2 sets to go in this video. We're going to go to the 65 slot. That's the Disney Duos. 5 mentions, a low E-score of 1.6. I agree. It is a Target exclusive. This is another rare case where I am not investing in a Target exclusive. Most Target exclusives do well, but this is a skip. Even though all the builds and figures actually look pretty good, I just don't know where it fits in from a collector standpoint. So on the primary market, you know, maybe it's doing okay. But on the secondary market, you got to have something that's going to pull people to want to go back and get it, right? Like it's part of a series or there's something really iconic about it. Other than the Disney 100 signs, I don't know what's going to pull people back to this set. It seems like maybe Lego should have just made all of these brickheads. I'm sure they would have figured out like a Nemo brickheads. Again, I don't know how they would have done it, but they've done other koi fish, I think, in brickheads form. And so that would have been pretty cool. Because this one just seems to be like a one and done type style and out on an island, I don't see the demand in the secondary market. For that reason, I'm going to put it in the 4th loser between the postcard and the Nutcracker. And now our last roll of the dice in this video is to number 26, and that is NASA Space Shuttle Discovery. This is a really cool set. 13 mentions, E-score of 2.2. I feel like the enthusiasm score is a little low. I would go a little higher. Most NASA sets have done well in the secondary market, like the space station, 70 to 85. Again, people were getting these on discount. Both versions of the Saturn V are up in value. The original Mars rover idea set is from 30 to over 400. We've got the new $100 Technic Mars rover out there. And I know there are other NASA sets that have been produced, but those are some examples. So it just seems like this one is going to be pretty good, but I I do expect a longer hold time, kind of a slow burn, but pretty good runway. This shuttle is big. The proportions are like perfect. Hubble folds up and fits inside, from a displayability factor, from a little bit of play, from a scientific and, discovery and adventure factor, from an education factor. There's a lot of blocks that get checked off with this set, and it's a 4.5 on brick set for a $200 NASA shuttle. So the 13 mentions I like, but again, from everything I showed you, I think that 2.2 is slightly low. So for our last set in this video, we got a pretty good one, and I am going to go into the first loser category, and I'm going to go above the architecture set and put it right there. That looks good. All right, so those are all 25 sets. Take a look. Throw me any comments, especially the ones where you disagree with me. Those are fun to chat about and read. I might be doing a couple more tier videos like this to finish off all the sets that have not been highlighted on this table so far. Got a bunch here in the top category that would be fun to put in the top tier of a future tier list. That's a wrap on this one, and as always, thanks a lot for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Oh, and don't forget, my videos are for entertainment purposes only. I do not provide financial advice. You got to get that from somebody else.